חג פורים, חג פורים, חג גדול ליהודים, מסכות ורשנים, זמירות וריקודים. היי! הוון הרישה, רש רש רש, הוון הרישה, רש רש רש, הוון הרישה, רש רש רש, בהר השנים. הוון הרישה, רש רש רש, הוון הרישה, רש רש רש, הוון הרישה, רש רש רש, בהר השנים.
Welcome, everybody, to the Young Shpiel Shomrei Emunah Purim Shpiel. It's a pleasure to be here with everybody. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Howie Shulman, and I will be your host for tonight's Shpiel. If we think back to 1 year ago, the last Purim, we've all been on quite a journey. Psychologists, such as myself, have long known that humor helps us to cope with stress in difficult times. Jews, of all people, have learned this the hard way. Purim, a commemoration of the attempt to wipe out the Jewish people, is now a time for joy, laughter, sharing with family and friends, and so we have a Purim Shpiel. Laughter strengthens us. Studies have found that laughter can increase dopamine levels and helps our immune system. Won't get into any lectures on dopamine tonight. So while we obviously need to take COVID-19 very seriously and follow the recommendations from the CDC, we also need to laugh. And so, let the Purim Shpiel begin. So, for those of you who are fed up with Zoom, or as we now say, ausgezumt, I was thinking of an old song from my days as a kid, and the version I'd like to suggest goes a little something like this. Zum gali gali gali, zum gali gali, zum gali gali gali, zum gali gali. Computer meetings are driving me mad. Missing human contact is making me sad. Zum gali gali gali, zum gali gali, zum gali gali gali, zum gali gali. Now, thinking back a little bit, now we are in the time of COVID and can't ignore that. Certainly the fact that we're doing this via a Zoom video makes it clear to everybody. But if we think back about the history of pandemics, we can go all the way back to the Black Plague. That was in the years 1346 to 1353. And there was a little nursery rhyme that came out of the Black Plague of those days. And kids probably to this day still sing it. Certainly when I was a kid they did. And it goes a little bit like this, or a lot like this. Ring around the rosy, a pocket full of posies, ashes, ashes, we all fall down. Ring around the rosy, the red ring of the rashes of the Black Plague. A pocket full of posies, flowers or herbs to either treat the disease or take away the stench. Ashes, ashes. We're not even going to go there. We all fall down, and that speaks for itself. Well, perhaps we can come up with maybe several hundred years from now, they'll be singing about this. And maybe there's a COVID-19 version of this. COVID crown around a daisy. The kids are driving me crazy. No classes, no classes. We all fall down. Thank you. Now I ask you, my friends, what would Purim be without Grommet? And who better to do Purim Grammar, to write Purim Grammar, than Mr. Shomrei Emunah himself, David Hornestay. And so, without further ado, I give you David Hornestay doing his Grammar.
It's hard to remember Purim a year ago. We've been through so much in a time of woe. Did we hear the Megillah in a crowded shul? Had anyone heard of a social distancing rule? But it wasn't long after that we got the word. Tales of a dangerous new virus were what we heard. With no vaccine and even worse, no cure. Big changes in our lives were coming for sure. Avoid large gatherings, wash hands and wear masks. And work from home if you can handle your tasks. School was sometimes on and sometimes off. And the scariest thing was to hear someone cough. Our biggest outing was a supermarket caper. Stocking up on hand sanitizers and toilet paper. Isolation soon made us quite grouchy. Our main comfort was Dr. Fauci. The closing of the shul was a serious blow. How would we daven, and for learning, where would we go? But we rallied and laughed in the face of doom. With outdoor minyanim and shiurim on Zoom. And after a while, there was a glimmer of light. The shul was open for prayer, but restrictions were tight. Instead of hundreds, there could be only a fraction. And for them, not much interaction. Yomim Noroyim like nothing previously known. Streamlined services, Putim cut to the bone. While most of us had to daven at home. It was the Baltokea who had to roam. Oh yeah, there was also a presidential election, which ended in a frightening insurrection. Good luck to the new leaders of our great nation. We've had enough excitement to last a generation. So it's back to Purim where we began. Megillah and Suda, however we can. Cherishing evermore the ones we love. And grateful for the protection of the one above.
Happy Purim!
Purim Sameach!
This is Shmuel Schaffner with a Purim song to the tune of What Do You Get When You Fall in Love? What do you get when you go to shul? You gotta get up in the early morning, when you'd rather be in bed and snoring. I've gotta go to shul again. What do you get when you give tzedakah? A little bit back as a tax deduction. That and your wallet gets liposuction. I've gotta give tzedakah again. But I'll tell you what it's all about, 'cause I've been there and I figured it out. When you're out of the earthly chains that bind you, these are the things that'll stand behind you. What do you get when you fast all day? A diet don't work when it's done that way, and it ain't aerobic to shuckle and sway. I've gotta do Yom Kippur again. What do you get when you live in a sukkah? In late October, you must be meshuggah. Rain in your soup and snow in your kugel. I'm building us a sukkah again. But I'll tell you what it's all about, 'cause I've been there and I figured it out. When you're out of the earthly chains that bind you, these are the things that'll stand behind you. What do you get when you do these things? You get what a life of Torah brings. So if I had the choice to be anything, I choose to be a Jew again.
Okay, thanks to Shmuel Schaffner for his wonderful song. And Shmuel will be back with us later in the Shpiel with other song parodies. Right now, I thought we'd just share a few observations about COVID. Why did the chicken cross the road? Because the chicken behind it didn't know how to socially distance properly. Let me ask you, whose idea was it to sing Happy Birthday while washing your hands? Now, every time I go to the bathroom and I come out, my wife expects me to have a cake there. Speaking of wives, my wife bought a world map and a dart set, and then gave me a dart and said, throw this, and wherever it lands, that's where we're going to go on vacation when the pandemic ends. Pretty good. It turns out we're spending 2 weeks behind the refrigerator. We ran out of toilet paper last week, and we started using lettuce leaves. Today was just the tip of the iceberg. Tomorrow remains to be seen. My mom told me I wouldn't accomplish anything by lying in bed all day. But look at me now, Ma. I'm saving the world. Yesterday, I ran out of soap and body wash, and all I could find was dish detergent. Then it dawned on me. I never thought that the comment, I wouldn't touch them with a 6-foot pole, would become a national policy. But here we are. I'm not talking to myself. I'm having a parent-teacher conference. There's nothing like relaxing on the couch after a long day of being tense on the couch. Knock, knock. Who's there? Seriously, don't touch my door and get back 6 feet to social distance. And here we are, day 203 at home, and the dog is looking at me like, see, this is why I chew the furniture. Thank you. our very next Purim presentation will feature our favorite troubadour, Shmuel Schaffner, reminding us all with a couple of songs about the days of yore when Mashalachim would come knocking at your door.
This is Shmuel Schaffner with a Purim song. It's about a happy-go-lucky shnorer to the tune of King of the Road. Charities I represent deserve a piece of your 10%. I know you haven't had supper yet, and I smell like cigarettes. About 2 hours going door to door. Pays my driver and a little bit more. It's not much, but enough to feel like king of the road. Winter's day and I'm feeling old. My feet are sore and my ears are cold. Old worn out suit and shoes. Door slammed by my fellow Jews. About 2 hours going door to door. Pays my driver and quite a bit more. I'm the best, that's why they call me king of the road. I know every clear up and down the East Coast. Who gives the least? Who gives the most? Stucca is for everyone, and I make sure that mitzvah gets done. I sing charities I represent deserve a piece of your 10%. No, you haven't had supper yet, and I smell like cigarettes. About 2 hours going door to door. Pays my driver and a whole lot more. That's why my grateful Stuccas call me king of the road. King of the road. King of the road. Howdy, folks. This is Shmuel Schaffner with a special Purim song for you. It's called Wisdom from a Shnorer, and it's to the tune of Kenny Rogers' The Gambler. On a warm summer's evening, in the back row of a Shpiel, I ran into a shnorer who was finished for the night. Open on the table was a sefer he'd been learning. He looked up at my face, then he fixed me in his sight. He said, Boychuk, I've made a life out of reading people's faces, knowing how much they could give by the way they held their eyes. And if you don't mind me saying, could use a little chizuk for a reasonable donation, I'll give you some advice. So I opened up a checkbook. He said 10 times Chai will do it. Started to object, then he looked me in the eyes. And the night got deathly quiet. His face lost all expression. Said if you're going to serve a Shem boy, you gotta learn to serve him right. You got to know where you're holding, know where you're going, know who is watching you when you think you're all alone. You never count your merits. There's mitzvahs needing doing. There'll be times enough for counting when your days are done. Now all good schnorers know that the secret to surviving is knowing what the other person really needs to hear. 'Cause everyone's a schnorer, and everyone's a donor, and who is giving more to whom isn't always clear. When he finished speaking, he got up from the table, pocketed my check, then he walked into the night. That was the last time I ever saw that schnorer, but in in the years since then, I've come to learn that he was right. You got to know where you're holding, know where you're going, know who is watching you when you think you're all alone. You never count your merits. There's mitzvahs needing doing, there'll be times enough for counting. When your days are gone, you got to know where you're holding, know where you're going, know who is watching you when you think you're all alone. You never count your merits. There's mitzvahs needing doing, there'll be times enough for counting when your days are done. Thank you.
Hi, this is your old granddad speaking, here to share with you from my very favorite beach spot with the disappearing hat, the top 10 ways to know that you have drunk enough on Purim. Having a disappearing hat is also one way to know, but that's the 11th. So, without further ado, number 10, you hold the Gemara upside down, look at a page and think, hey, they finally decoded the human genome. Number 9, you demand to have your Hamantaschen soaked in vodka. Number 8, you start to count backwards from 10 and get stuck at 8. Number 7, when asked if you observe social distancing, you indignantly reply, I am always Shomer Negia. Number 6, you ask people how many candles they lit last night. Number 5, you begin speaking Yiddish with a Sephardic accent. Number 4, you have a nightmare that you are awake. Number 3, when asked who won the presidential election, you immediately answer George Washington. Number 2, you think you have gone blind until someone tells you that your COVID mask goes over your mouth and nose, not your eyes. And the number 1 way to know that you have had too much to drink on Purim is that you think that this top 10 list is funny. Thank you. Many of you may be wondering, what does the rabbi really do? Besides speaking to congregants, delivering drushes, teaching shiurim, pasking shilas, etc., etc., etc. Well, I've discovered one other very important thing the rabbi does. Most of us don't know about it. He has assumed the role of our public relations and outreach director. So if you will stay on for a little bit, we're going to tune in on a typical day in Rabbi Rosenbaum's schedule where he answers phone calls from prospective new members. Rabbi Rosenbaum.
Hello?
Hello.
Yes?
Hi, I'm considering moving to the area, and I was interested in hearing more about your Bet Knesset.
Thank you so much for calling. I'm so glad you called. What are you looking for exactly?
You know, we're Sephardi, and we're looking for a Bet Knesset like the one we had back home, with the rich Sephardic tradition.
Absolutely. Betach! We've got that. That's exactly what we are. We even have many families with Nisim and Lunas.
Huh?
Sorry, I got carried away. But in any event, we are the Beit Knesset for you. Habibi.
Look, just to be clear, we're not just looking for a minyan. We're looking for a Beit Knesset that's Sephardic and Sephardic only.
Sure.
We happened to pass by your building. It looks pretty big. How many minyanim do you have in your Sephardic shul?
Just one.
And where does a minyan pray? In that large area facing Arcola?
No.
Why not?
We built a whole large building, but we decided that the minyan should meet in the highest point of the building so that the minyan could be close to Abino Sheba Shamayim.
Unbelievable.
Hello?
Hello, I'm considering moving to the area and I was interested in hearing more about your show.
Thank you so much for your interest. What are you looking for exactly?
Well, we're from a Hasidic background and our nusach is very important to us. So we're looking for a show that was nusach Sfard.
Yeah, Vada, we've got that. That is exactly what we are. We are the show for you. It's going to be great. It's going to be great.
Look, just to be clear, and I appreciate it, we're just looking not only for a minyan, but we're looking for a nusach Sfard show.
Yeah, that's what we are. Sure.
Okay, so we happen to be passing by your building. It looks pretty big. How many minyanim do you have davening in nusach Sfard show?
Well, Baruch Hashem, we have so many different Hasidim in our shul. We have a minyan for each Hasidus. We have 7 minyanim in the shul Shabbos morning, 1 for each group of Hasidim.
Givaldik, which Hasidus do you have?
Which are you?
Baruch Hashem, I'm Breslov.
Yeah. Baruch Hashem, we're the show for you. The Breslov minyan meets in the new wing, last or on the left. Now, don't talk about that it's the Breslov minyan when you come in. Everyone knows it's the Breslov minyan.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, we look forward to seeing you in our show. Thank you so much for calling.
Thank you.
You too. I guess we all have a little bit of Hasidus in us.
I hope it connects.
Oh.
Hello. Our family is moving to the area, and we're interested in finding out about your shul.
Thank you so much for calling. That'll be great. What are you looking for?
Well, our family is pretty diverse. One member is more towards the yeshiva bent, another more modern, one wants to get in and out of shul as quickly as possible, and another likes a nice, slow davening. The only thing we all agree on is that we hate going to shuls with different kinds of minyanim. We all agree a shul should have one specific approach and style. We just can't agree what it is. What's your shul like?
I'm really sorry. You can tell my kids are making a lot of noise in the background. I'd love to continue the conversation. I'd love to talk later. Just in case we don't connect, I would encourage each and every member of your family to come on separate Shabbos and visit the shul. Just let me know ahead of time who's going to come first. Thanks. Gotta run. Bye-bye. Let's go. Oh, shit, come over here. Guys, I don't know how I was a rabbi without you guys. Thanks for your help, guys. Hello?
Hello. Our family is moving to the area and we're interested in finding out about your shul.
Okay, great. What are you looking for?
We really appreciate the community. We have our own specific idea of what we would be looking for in a shul. We were really looking for a shul that has different minyanim to accommodate different interests for people of different backgrounds and outlooks. We're hoping...
Didn't your parents ever teach you not to make prank calls? Nobody really wants that.
This is Shmuel Schaffner with a special Purim song to the tune of This Diamond Ring. Does anyone want to buy my Borsalino? I'm moving out from Borough Park, and it just isn't me. So this black fedora defined my identity. I guess now I dress with somewhat less intensity, but if you wish more yeshivish to be, buy this hat from me. Buy this hat from me. When you wear a hat like this, you can't go wrong here. And when you wear a hat like this, you will belong here. This black fedora is the Ehrlicher uniform, and this black fedora conforms to communal norms. So wear it straight on shidduch dates with nice girls, and you'll get the right girl. And you'll get the right girl. Does anyone want to buy my Borsalino? I used to dress in black and white, but now I'm brown and green. So this Borsalino is made of the finest wools, and this Borsalino has been to the finest shuls. So if you seek some muncie chic to steigen, now here's your chance to buy in. Here's your chance to buy in. Does anyone want to buy my Borsalino? Does anyone want to buy my Borsalino? Does anyone want to buy my Borsalino? Thank you very much.
Rabbi Rosenbaum, I think, in spite of his incredible energy level, I think even he has been perhaps a bit overwhelmed between Purim and COVID and Purim, and everything else going on. So we had a whole list of shilas that needed to be answered for the purposes of this Purim spiel. And so I was given the name of this very distinguished posek to call upon to address some of the pressing shilas of our time. And without further ado, I'm going to turn this over to this distinguished guest, Rav. Rabbi.
Shalom Aleichem. My name is Harav S. Rivenu, and your hosts have asked me to share with you some of the halachas, some of the laws of hand sanitizer. Now, in the yeshivas, we study this all the time, and we go all the nosei kelim and stuff like that. But as I've been discussing with people in your tzibur, it doesn't sound to me like you know very much about these halachas. So it will be my pleasure to share with you some of the halachas that obtain these days with COVID about using hand sanitizer. So the first thing I want to tell you is that there's some discussion, in fact, even some disagreement about the mahus, the nature of the hand sanitizer, what it has to be. And one of the questions that people ask me all the time is, does it have to be organic? Now, it's true that organic is a hidur, it's very nice, but given the fact that we're in COVID and people have all kinds of economic dislocations, and the fact that organic is more expensive, most of the poskim believe that you can use non-organic hand sanitizer. However, I would say that if it's Shabbos, that's just for the weekday, but if it's Shabbos, it would be important to use organic. Now, let me ask you about the color, or actually you might ask me about the color. What color should the hand sanitizer be? Again, there's a difference of opinion. Some of the poskim say it should be blue. It should be blue like techeles. It should be the color of the sky. There are others who say it should be silver, like silver screen. And there are still others who say it should be white, like white oak. But I'll tell you the truth. If you cannot find any of these colors, it's still okay. Because l'chol hadeos, according to every opinion, if you buy expensive hand sanitizer, even if it's colorless, that will be fine. So now, once you have the hand sanitizer, where do you put it? You might think you could put it on top of your hand, but that would not be true. If you put it on top of your hand, the choladeos, it's no good. Only it will be good if you put it in the palm of your hand. And whereas in the normal times we say it's very specific where in the palm of the hand it has to be, but for now we say any place in the palm is fine, but you have to be very careful. Suppose you put it in the palm of your hand like so, and then there's the other hand, and you turn your hand over and chalila, it falls on the top of the other hand, it's no good. You have to start entirely all over again. So be careful. Now, someone asked me if I have a mask and I have a hand sanitizer, which do I put on first? And does it matter whether I'm in my house or somebody else's house? So I would say the following. If you are in your house, the first thing you should do is you should sanitize your hand. And then you should put on your mask. If you are in somebody else's house, you don't belong there. You should be gone. So quick, put on your mask and run away, and then you can put the hand sanitizer on outside. Now, there's another question. This is a question that comes up a lot of times in halacha. Are you allowed to use something that is not your own to perform the required action? So, for example, on Sukkot, you can't use a stolen lulav. It has to be yours. But the poskim say, because of the difficulties with COVID, we'll be very makil, we'll be making lenience, and you may use someone else's hand sanitizer, but only one squeeze. Only one squeeze, that's allowed, but not more than one squeeze, so be careful. Now, here's a very, very interesting halachic question. Suppose you don't have the ability to use hand sanitizer. Suppose you don't have hand sanitizer. Can you ask your chaver to put on a double dose of hand sanitizer on himself? And in this way, can he be motzi you? Can he put on the hand sanitizer as if it was you? And again, there are mikilim, there are leniencies because of COVID. And the answer is yes, he can do it. It's not desirable, but he can do it. But then when he's done, he has to smear his hand with the hand sanitizer on the doorpost, on the right doorpost. So you remember that. Now, most of you who are listening are probably Ashkenazim, although I hope there are some members of the Sephardi community also. And you know, like many things in Judaism, there are different ways that the Ashkenazim do things and different ways that the Sephardim do things. And in general, we want you to perform in the same manner as your forefathers or foremothers. But what happens if an Ashkenazi does not have Ashkenazi hand sanitizer? Can he use Sephardi hand sanitizer? The answer is, because of the emergency, he may. However, a word to the wise, Sephardi hand sanitizer is very spicy and very strong, so please use it very cautiously, just a little bit. Now, I have heard people say, and I think this is a terrible idea, I have heard people say that they put their hand sanitizer, they mix it in with the recipe for hamantashen. And I want to tell you why you should not do this. Because you know, in connection with Pesach, we have a rule that if something is nifsal me'achilas kelev, if it is so terrible tasting that even a dog would not eat it, If that is the case, then we say it doesn't consist, it's not food anymore. And so therefore, if Chalila, you put hand sanitizer with the best of motives, you put hand sanitizer in your hamantaschen and they didn't taste good anymore, you would not be yotzei the mitzvah of shalach monas. So please be careful. Hand sanitizer is for hands, it's not for hamantaschen. Now, how much hand sanitizer do you need to use? Like many things that have to do with liquids, what we call in Hebrew nozel, the rule is generally a revis. But here again, because of the situation, we can be lenient. Many of the poskim say you can start with a small amount, and you could add a little bit more, and a little bit more, and a little bit more, until you get to the level where you cannot tell the difference between Pfizer and what's the other one called? Moderna. If you can't tell the difference between Pfizer and Moderna, that's good. And finally, I want to tell you a bit of Haggadah. We have been doing halacha up till now. I want to do a little bit of a Haggadah. The question is that some people say that Moshe Rabbeinu, the Av HaNeviim, was able to split the Red Sea because he used hand sanitizer. But like so much in halacha and even in Haggadah, there are different opinions. Some people say that it's very partial, he took hand sanitizer and he sanitized his hands and then he held the mate, he held the staff. Other people say the mate miraculously spritzed out hand sanitizer. But the third opinion is, let me just check what it says, the Ananea Koloid, the clouds of protection, the clouds of glory, they put hand sanitizer on Moshe. Because how else, if they didn't put hand sanitizer on him, could he have had the protection from the Anonim? So in conclusion, I want to ask you, please, if you have any other questions and you cannot reach me, Rav Esrivenu, but you should talk to your local Orthodox rabbi. Of course, I mean only a rabbi who went to a serious yeshiva. And with that, I wish you a freilich and Purim. Goodbye.
Love, thank you so much. It was just, I can't tell you how overwhelmed, or at least whelmed I've been by your words.
I'm very appreciative. I'm very appreciative. I will send you an envelope so that you could send some money for my yeshiva, and I appreciate it. And everyone should have a Chag Kosher. Chag Kosher is a different holiday. You should have a Chag Sameach. Freilich and Purim. Goodbye. Goodbye. Shalom.
This is Shmuel Schaffner with a Purim song to the tune of the Beatles' classic, Close Your Eyes and I'll Kiss You. Now imagine a family sending their eldest daughter away to Israel for her gap year to seminary, and they're nervous. This is something she might sing to them to make them feel a little bit less nervous. Close your eyes and I'll kiss you. I'm sure gonna miss you and the rest of the family too. And then while I'm away, I'll write home every day and I'll send all my laundry to you. It may seem quite absurd to transport all my skirts across the wide ocean so blue. When my dress is a mess, that's why there's UPS to help me send all my laundry to you. All my laundry I will send to you. could try to learn to launder and dry. You know, there's nothing that a teenage girl can't do, but you do it with such flair, I could never compare. So I'll send all my laundry to you. All my laundry I will send to you. All my laundry, 'cause that's what you do. When this year is all done, I'll return to my home, and my wandering days will be through. I'll go to college out of town, find a bacher, settle down, and we'll send all our laundry to you. All our laundry we will send to you. All our laundry, 'cause that's what you do. All our laundry, all our laundry, all our laundry, 'cause that's what you do.
And so, my friends, as the Purim Shpiel for 2021 draws to a close, please bear with me just for a few moments more to offer credits and thanks to many who made this possible tonight. First, thanks to HaKadosh Baruch Hu for keeping us healthy and bringing us to the beginning of Purim 2021 so we could laugh and celebrate together. And may we celebrate many smachot and happy times together in health and with family and friends. Thanks to Rabbi Rosenbaum for initiating the Shpiel and for writing and starring in a Shpiel sketch. To Sammy Franco, Arnie Sherman, and Mark Katz, three of my fellow former presidents, and to Zev Zalman, aka ZZ Ludwig, who co-starred with them in the sketch with Rabbi Rosenbaum. Of course, thanks to Dave Hornestay for maintaining his reputation as the master of Shomrei Amuna humor with his original Grommen. To Shmuel Schaffner for writing and performing his phenomenal song hits and for permitting me to add the video illustrations of his lyrics. It wouldn't have been a Shpiel without Shmuel's assistance. To Yehuda Shanansky for writing the fantastic halachic discourse on hand sanitizers, and for the very special guest posek, Rabbi S. Rivenu, who you might not have recognized out of formal rabbinical garb, as the other Rabbi Rosenbaum, Rabbi Roy Rosenbaum, father of our Rav. To Emily Kelleher, who I discovered on the internet for her wonderful COVID one-liners, which I borrowed for this Shpiel. For all the photographers whose pictures I used to illustrate Shmuel Schaffner's songs. Thanks to Max Rudman for getting things moving forward, and his dear wife Debbie's efforts to advertise and recruit, and to Harriet Scheinson for her phone calls to recruit writers for the Shpiel. To each of you for tuning in tonight. What would a Purim Shpiel be without an audience? Any things that were in poor taste or were not particularly funny, the blame goes on me entirely. Finally, last but not least, my dear wife Karen, I must thank, because she, without complaint, put up with me squirreling myself away in my office during the weeks that I spent on the Shpiel, and offering me her continuing love and moral support. May Hashem bless us to be together and have much nachas from our families, extended families, and friends for many years to come. Thank you. A happy Purim, a Chag Purim Sameach, a Freilichem Purim to everybody. Good night.